What's up? Good morning, everybody. How's it going? It's Thursday. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you, anywhere that you are. What's going on? The snoozeberries taste like lights, camera, action. Let's go. You got coffee. Did we decide on a new name? Are we the Cooper Troopers? You are. We're the Cooper Troopers, all of us. John Mazzoni's in the house. Mr. Joker. Christian from NifGen. What's up? Good morning, Christian. Vince. What's going on, everybody? We're slowing down over here at the ReCoop. Oh, hey, we're slowing down. Let me make sure, actually. I'm noticing that sometimes this is... No, we're good. We got the good mic. I didn't even do that on purpose. It's getting ridiculous at this point, folks. Come on, Coop. I've got a meeting at 9:30. Dragonfly needs me to get going. He needs me to get working. I'm a little late, folks. Everything is happening. Did everybody watch The Great Betrayal yesterday? I did not. And that is John Woods going on the next block. I did not see it. I was actually busy. Did anybody watch this? Was there anything good that I should be talking about? Is that mic even plugged in? That's funny. It is plugged in. It's a real mic. It's a Rode NT whatever. Decent mic. Rode makes nice, affordable mics, folks. If you're looking for a nice mic, I recommend it. So, yeah, did anybody watch John Woods on the next block yesterday? John Woods and Jessica, the new CMO at the Algorand Foundation. I saw a tweet. I just saw somebody tweet that she emphasized that people need to support the new group in charge of the foundation. That's an interesting point. I don't know. I'm in this world right now that I'm wondering what's happening. Doesn't it feel like in the Algo fam, folks, that a shoe is about to drop? I invited Crypto for Change to come on the show. Is he in the crowd? Maybe he's dealing with the baby today. I invited him to come on the second half of the show to discuss that interview. So, because I know, guys, my audience wouldn't have watched that yesterday. Cooper Troopers weren't watching John Woods and Jessica on the next block. They're loyal. They're waiting for John Woods to come on the show this Monday. So at the top of the show on Monday, John Woods will be coming on, and I'll be talking to him for the entirety of the show, basically, if he has the time. It'll be fun. It'll be informational. It'll be everything that you want. There it is. There he is. Crypto for Change. Check your DMs and Twitter if you're available, brother. But let's move on. What are we going to do? We're going to check. Let's just check, see CoinMarketCap. I know that Bitcoin is really outperforming the rest of the market, which makes sense. It makes sense. That's what happens during every bear market. At some point, Bitcoin separates itself. And it seems like that's happening right now. I'm feeling a little bit of FOMO about Bitcoin in particular. But I have to check myself because we know that there's games being played. But at the same time, we also know that the SEC has a very positive light on Bitcoin. So it's interesting. Or do they have a very positive light? I don't know. Maybe that's a bit too much. But still, anyways, okay, CoinMarketCap. Let's take a look. Where are we at? Let's refresh. Yeah, Bitcoin's pushed up to almost 25,000, and it's up about 15% over the last 7 days. I think that probably outperforms every other major cryptocurrency. ETH is up 8% over the last, so that's double basically at 1650. USDC creeping more and more up to a full dollar. So that as repegged. Cardano's sitting around 32 cents. It's been sitting at that area for a while. That's been super sideways. It's up about 2%, but it's not down 8% like XRP is. Polygon's doing all right. Solana, don't care. Polkadot. My buddy Litecoin, John Mazzoni's favorite cryptocurrency, is here at 78.50. I'm still in the green, John. Let's see. Monero 147. We got to do this. My finger gets tired trying to find Algorand. There she is. Oh, look at her. 20 and a half. I'm pretty sure that's basically what we had before. 20 and a half cents. Up 1% over the last 7 days. Pretty sideways as well. Stacks, man. That was a mistake of mine. Up 43% over the last 7 days. Stacks was something that I was looking at. It's so funny. At like 23 cents. And I was like, oh, man. I know that the SEC has I know that they're probably going to leave Bitcoin alone. Are they going to try to force it to be everything? And if it's forced to be everything, something like Stacks, which has a first mover kind of thing, might actually really get some good action. And I was right. Tezos is up 13 and almost 14% over the last 7 days. So, okay, there you go. Immutable X. What is that? That's Elrond, right? No, sorry. Immutable X, duh. Multiverse X is Elrond. Immutable X is the NFT product thing. Okay, there we go. Optimism is also climbing up there, 240. All right. So you guys saw all that. Now let's look at CNBC real quick. Getting some red all across the board. Banks are blowing up in not a good way. So you got Credit Suisse is to borrow up to nearly $54 billion from the Swiss National Bank. So they're getting a big old bailout, which I believe pumped their stock a bit. What do you guys think? Do you think that the Fed is going to not raise interest rates? I think they will. I read a good point that if the Fed actually does not raise interest rates, that probably signifies a much bigger problem than inflation. So for them to, veer off of their path in that kind of capacity, in that kind of way, after they have made it so clear that they're going to continue this tightening, it would indicate that they're doing that because they know more banks are failing. So the banking industry is not doing very good, folks. And by the way, I mentioned it on Twitter, but maybe you guys don't know. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit. I'll follow up in a second on some of the concerns about Choke Point 2.0. And then I'm going to talk about, some of the statements by Gary Gensler, which he's repeatedly made, that basically all cryptocurrencies except for Bitcoin and probably stuff like Litecoin and Digibyte and stuff like that are securities. And I think a question that I see pop up a lot is, okay, so they're securities. What does that matter? So we'll talk about that as well. All right. But on CNBC, I'm not really seeing anything that I care about. The 10-year is down. I remember when I was watching the 10-year and being like, oh my God, is that going to get over 2? It is. It is going to get over 2, folks. And then let's just make sure that we have all of the most current news, that no shoes have dropped. Credit Suisse dollar bonds fall deeper into distress. JP Morgan sees Credit Suisse takeover as a likely scenario. Working to block deals. First Republic is in trouble. I think there's a First Republic down the street from me. All right. Did you guys see? I didn't even bring it up yesterday, but did you see that Iran and Saudi Arabia made some sort of deal? They've been, rivals, foes, enemies, whatever you want to call it, for a long time. Seems like China came in and brokered some sort of peace between the two. That would be China making a show of them being a world mediator, not the U.S. But I mean, what was China or what was the U.S. going to do? Broker a deal with Iran? They can't do that. Okay. All right. Well, Bloomberg's boring. Hey, thanks for being boring, Bloomberg. Jeez. Just one of the largest banks in the world crashing. Come up with some good news next time. I'll go to some other place for that. All right. So we got that. I don't want to ruin any of my my queued up articles. So I'm just going to search it here just so we can get the general overview of what CoinDesk is saying. They sort of lead. Arbitrum to airdrop new token and transition to DAO. Okay. Stop blaming crypto for traditional finance failures. That would be nice. All right, there's nothing. We all saw that Vitalik sold a bunch of ETH. Do you guys call it something ETH? I mean, I can't do ETH. Sorry, it's ETH. Okay. All right. So that's not interesting. Let's go back here. Okay. Well, we scrolled that. So yeah, I just wanted to follow up a little bit on this move by the United States government. It seems like they are, they're making a move, folks. And there's a lot of different things. There's a lot of different reasons, I guess. I was reading up a little bit this morning before we got going. I'll look at it, but I'm not exactly an expert on it. But there is this Robinhood somehow has gotten into the middle of this scandal again. Citadel, our favorite figures from the GameStop, AMC, Stonk, Wall Street Bets time. But first, before we talk about that, let's go to Reuters, folks. It doesn't matter. Okay, so we're gonna share this tab instead. I'm gonna go back here, make sure you guys are looking at it, which you aren't. All right. Okay. Exclusive. U.S. regulator eyes Friday bids for SVB Signature Bank. That's great. Okay, but I'm sure you guys have seen it by now. I saw it in this article, but now everybody's sharing it. Taking away my shine on a Thursday morning. But this is okay. So this is about new auctions show how the FDIC is making a concerted effort to return the lenders to the private sector after regulators took over Silicon Valley Bank last Friday and Signature Bank on Sunday during a weekend of turmoil that has reverberated through the global financial system. Yes, it has. It's reverberated. The FDIC is aiming to sell both SVB and Signature in their entirety, while offers for parts of the banks could be considered if whole company sales do not happen. Okay. Only bidders with an existing bank charter will be allowed to study the bank's financials ahead of study the bank's financials ahead of submitting their offer, a move which is aimed at giving traditional lenders an advantage over private equity firms. Any buyer of Signature must agree to give up all the crypto business at the bank. There you go. That's the part that everybody's latching onto. So we all know that what happened with Signature has nothing to do with their crypto business. They have come out and said we weren't even what they have come out and said it, but they're like we weren't even really holding crypto. All we were doing was facilitating the movement of crypto 24/7, right? So obviously there is an effort to hurt the crypto industry. And we got Barney Frank, who I have mentioned on this show recently a couple of times, which I never really thought that I would. It didn't occur to me that Barney Frank was going to be coming up anymore on this show, but here he is at the middle of this. He was on the board of Signature Bank, and it is a ripe situation for him to be part of the Frank Dodd regulation bill after the 2008 crash, really trying to tighten things, and now he's up at the top of one of the bigger bank failures. I think he believes that this is all BS. So let's read real quick. Who is to blame for the Silicon Valley Bank's collapse? Well, he's like, I don't know. I'm not familiar with Silicon Valley Bank. I'm the Signature Bank, dude. He says, we're not a big high tech lender. We're a big New York City housing lender from more than anything else in commercial property. We weren't having crypto as our own asset. We were simply allowing, just what I just said. We were simply allowing two businesses that were customers of ours that wanted to deal with each other in crypto to do so. We were a facilitator. But the other part we had was this. We had large depositors way beyond 250,000. That's because our customer base is made of major property owners. I wanted to extend that deposit guarantee to cover businesses that had to have a lot of cash on hand. And that was something he wanted back in the day. I lost on that for a variety of political reasons. So what you had was Silicon Valley is deteriorating, failing. We're seen by some as a crypto bank. And secondly, we have a large number of uninsured deposits. And they panicked and started withdrawing. That's what happened Friday afternoon. If the FDIC and the Fed had done on Friday what they did Sunday, we would not have been in any trouble. And secondly, if they had allowed us to open up on Monday, we would have been in good shape. We would have been operational. I'm very disappointed. So this person asks, and I'm not going to read this whole entire article, but the closure of Signature Bank surprised a lot of people because it didn't initially seem affected by the run earlier this year on Silvergate, the California-based bank that primarily served the crypto industry. I'm very disappointed to learn, apparently, the Department of Financial Services in New York, which did the closing, hasn't said we were insolvent. They said, well, they had a problem because they couldn't get sufficient data. I mean, I was disappointed when they closed it and sort of vindicated. And they have not argued that we were insolvent. And I think it's very clear if we had the benefit of those two announcements, we'd still be an ongoing bank. Now the question is, why did they react so harshly to what they said was our inability to give them sufficient data? I believe it was probably to send the message that even though we were doing crypto stuff responsibly, they don't want banks doing crypto. And I read it the other day. Nick Carter, he broke down every single step along the way in this year of what they've done to make it very clear they don't want traditional banks doing crypto. And before I read the Nick Carter thing, I was pointing out on this show a couple of weeks ago, on January 3rd, they all came together to say, we do not want traditional banks dealing in crypto. They denied that in their statement, but I don't fully believe it. I mean, this is Barney Frank. He's an establishment dude. He's a Democrat. He's Barney. I think that they overreacted to what they saw was our problem with data, which may well have existed, but the data was improving. I think sloppy data is not a reason to close a bank that you have not decided was insolvent. And they've never said we were insolvent. So then this guy's like, well, is that even legal? Can the government just seize any bank, even if it's not insolvent? Well, yeah, that's worrisome. Let me say this. I don't want to comment on that personally because as a director, I could conceivably involved in any kind of lawsuit that anybody brought, but I think that is a very good question you raise. And particularly, somebody ought to look and see. I wonder, are we the first bank to be closed totally without being insolvent? And if so, why? All right. Now, look, there might be more of a why here. He says it in the beginning of the stuff that I was reading is that they're a big New York City housing lender. Okay. This was New York that did this. So yes, they don't want crypto being part of this bank anymore. I don't think the New York regulators want crypto much at all in New York. But also, there's a lot of other investigations happening by that team in New York, and Signature Bank being a big New York City housing lender, the story could be a lot deeper than we know. Are you catching my drift? You catch my drift? All right. So I'm not going to talk about that because I don't know anything about it. And then that will, that wades into politics, and I want to avoid that as much as I possibly can. All right. So we did that. So we got that. There was another thing. So then, but the story kind of plot thickens a little bit. Oh, I think I already read that. Okay, I added two of the same tab. Why are you doing that, dude? All right, so let's look at this Robinhood stuff. Something that I don't actually know a ton about. So you're gonna have to forgive me as I learn with you. Robinhood users say the trading app won't cash in their profitable bets against Silicon Valley Bank. Okay, guys, and by the way, we're in Forbes right now. This is my first of 4 free articles. I will not go past 4 free articles. So let's enjoy this right now. We only have 3 more of these this month. Okay. Not paying for Forbes. Don't care, Forbes. All right. So there's this guy again. Look at him. Remember that guy's face? Did anybody else just get totally caught up in this? Was anybody as crazy as I was actually like waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning and, watching David Portnoy and, just, I mean, I got wrapped up in this a lot. I made a little bit of money on AMC. I sold it way too early. But I played a little bit with it as well. I was late. I didn't make the big gains like they did with GameStop, but there was a little bit of fun to be had with AMC. Yep. But okay. If you had Robinhood controversy on your 2023 banking crisis bingo card, you're in luck. Your square just got called. Hey, Keith, is this legal from Robinhood? I have a put against Signature Bank New York, and they're saying it will expire worthless. Apparently, many others are experiencing the same. They're not letting people close their puts on Signature Bank. Obviously, Citadel has something to do with this. Oh my God, I hate them so much. The problem is, according to users of the trading app, Robinhood isn't allowing them to sell their contracts or get paid. A slew of the contracts are set to expire on Friday. That's got some of them miffed. I think that they will conclude that no one knows what's going on and we got to wait for more clarity after reading the thread. Problem is that Robinhood says if I own shares, the put can hang out on my account or I can force exercise it. But since I don't own shares, my put will disappear at expiration instead of hanging out on my account until the freeze is lifted or the OCC makes another determination. Okay, so the only way you were allowed to create puts that will actually pay you in the event that what happened is if you also own some. Well, that's some BS. And they shouldn't let you open up a position like that if it won't get paid. Okay, so they're working to resolve this ASAP. Robinhood isn't the only exchange that isn't following through, according to retail option traders. Fidelity, which didn't immediately return requests for comment, has also taken a social media beatdown for its failure to pay up. And surprisingly, given its history, Robinhood seems to be the punching bag of choice. Currently talking to securities lawyers on why Fidelity won't allow me to exercise my SBNY put contracts, seeing as the bank has been seized, the stock should be well below the $50 strike. Updates to follow. All right, guys, I'm not going to pretend that I really understand this. I can sit here and continue to read this article and get outraged with you guys or for you guys. Let's just read this. Just like the meme stock episode, this week's simmering put option scandal goes to show that even the best bets can end up worthless. There's a touch of irony to the situation. In 2021, Wall Street Bets users complained that Gabe Plotkin's Melvin Capital, among others, held naked short positions against GameStop, meaning they didn't own GameStop shares to deliver on their bets against the stock. Now, Robinhood and other brokers are saying put contracts, which, to be clear, aren't the same as naked shorts, can't be executed because the shares can't be bought. It's all a little too on the nose. Boo. All right, enough of that. Let's talk about security stuff. All right, let's go to this guy. SEC's Gensler reiterates proof of stake crypto tokens may be securities. There you go. There's a picture of him. Look at him. He's explaining something. He's probably talking. He's like, no, it's stake. STAKE, not STEAK. You get it? You get the joke? Oh my God, that guy. All right. U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission Chair Gary Gensler suggested once again that so-called proof of stake tokens, which represent many major cryptocurrencies, should be regulated as securities. Proof of stake describes a process. Yeah, this is the new one. Okay, nobody wants to. You don't need me to. Oh, I'm going to say something about pure proof of stake in a second. By the way, I have a point to make about that. But yeah, creators of the protocol that underpin such tokens often promote their projects on social media, and investors and the investors folk to them based on the expectation of earning a return. I would suggest that each of these token operators, obviously consulting with the appropriate talent, seek to come into compliance. Crypto firms are seeking to avoid the security label because it carries investor protection requirements that many say are incompatible with the asset class, but they're coming under increasing regulatory scrutiny. The SEC last month fined Kraken a major blah, blah, blah. Gensler's comment was in response to a question about the seeming disconnect between Gensler's view and that of the Commodity Futures Trading Commission chairman, Rostin Beham, who recently said he thought Ether is a commodity. I'm not going to comment on any one token. As to regards to the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, I love it. Okay, bro. I don't know why. He's just, I guess, because he's threatening the industry that I am talking about and trying to, I guess that's why I don't like him. Gensler expressed similar concerns over proof of stake during last year's merge and proof of work. Okay, you guys all know that stuff. Okay, so there you go. I mean, basically, I didn't need to read you any of that. We all know what this is. It's the SEC, and he's saying that most other crypto tokens other than Bitcoin and a couple others are securities. Great. Thanks for the breakdown. Oh, it's annoying. Okay. And then, there was this article. Let's share this article. This is also from Bloomberg a while ago. This was from 2022. So, what is the SEC doing? What does it mean for something to be a security? And it's most simpler, the Howey test. Okay, you guys don't need me to. Investors kicking in money with the intention of profiting from the efforts of an organization's leadership. In December 2020, the agency sued Ripple Labs for allegedly raising money by selling the XRP digital token, which at the time was the third biggest, without registering it as a security. The SEC claimed that the company was funding its growth by issuing XRP to investors, betting that its value would rise. Okay, that's still ongoing. It's been ongoing for a while. It's ridiculous. So why does calling a token a security matter? Okay, well, so this is a question that a lot of you have. I guess I could have just explained it on my own, but why don't we just right here? We have old Bloomberg there for us. Let's just read it. Okay, well, such a designation would make running a cryptocurrency exchange more expensive and complex. Under U.S. rules, the label carries strict investor protection requirements for platforms and issuers. This burden would put smaller platforms at a disadvantage compared to people like Coinbase. What's more, exchanges would face continuous scrutiny by regulators, which could lead to fines, penalties, and in worst case, prosecutions. It could also mean losing future funding from investors who may be skittish of those increased compliance burdens and regulatory scrutiny. Supporters of more regulation believe securities designation would result in the more information and transparency for investors because the SEC disclosure requirements that would apply. Crypto enthusiasts are against it. They say their ventures are decentralized in a way that makes old rules a poor fit. And crypto trading platforms argue that the assets they're listing should be considered commodities, not securities. Commodity trading and their derivatives are more focused on ensuring that companies, producers, and farmers can effectively use derivatives to hedge against risks of price swings in commodities than on the role of small-time investors. Well, they want okay, what do crypto people want? They want that. Now, everything but Bitcoin. Okay. So there's that. All right. So, of course, with the exchanges, and I think a lot of people out there will be like, well, okay, dude, like, who gives a crap, right? Like, We should. I mean, maybe exchanges need to have a lot more regulation. Maybe they need to be answering to more of these questions. Maybe, we've got these like front running lawsuits against Coinbase. There's market manipulation. I mean, basically, I think a lot of us are wondering right now if the pump in the crypto market is responsible for one individual. We know that the U.S. government. So there is a lot of fraud in the industry. But this security designation, there seems to be, and they mention it in that older article that I just read from last year, that potentially digital assets should have a more tailor-made regulation and classification than what the Howey test would do or what they would traditionally do, because we all know that tokens often, they're not giving you equity into a company. They're often just facilitating and helping the network. Now, a lot of people are going to be like, okay, well, people are buying these things because they expect it to go up in value. Okay, that's fine. But this is a slippery slope. And then, okay, so they say that everything's a security, right? And Bloomberg mentions what it will do to exchanges and all of the compliance and how it'll probably pull out a lot of, institutional money because they don't want to play those games anymore. Now that these things are securities and, they're listed on exchanges worldwide, VPNs, then this just becomes chaos, right? Just absolute utter chaos. And then what happens to decentralized finance, right? And then all of these KYC, AML situations where none of this is permissionless, none of this is censorship resistant, none of this is any of the things that actually make it worthwhile. It just becomes a little bit of a speculation market on some technology, and you get no equity in the thing. This isn't the right way. This kills the industry. You understand? And then it could even bleed over to validators, right? Now are validators some like money intermediary, right? Do they have to do all of this KYC, AML, whatever work for people to, stake with them? Blah, 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 blah. So it's a dicey thing, but labeling these things securities are clearly going to make it so they're only available in a very few places, and it's going to make the entire experience nothing like it was, and it will create a lot of people going elsewhere, people participating in these ecosystems illegally. It's going to try to push it into the shadows. It will push a lot of people into proof of work, which they say is bad for the environment. So once they do all that, then they'll probably start going after mining. And then, then they successfully have crushed an emerging industry that was innovation. And they'll put all of that innovation into another place, another country. They'll lead. And either the United States people, which I think we're all in a bubble, we think that there's more. So maybe they know that and they don't really care. And they just kill an entire industry. They kill an entire industry. Right? So it's important that these things aren't just willy-nilly. And thankfully, Gary Gensler can't just say it, right? And there's lots of court cases, and there's going to be lots of things, and judges are going to do it, and who knows. And then there's also, coins like, or tokens like DOT that have worked super, super hard to be compliant. And they have said, well, okay, technically, we did start as maybe a security because we sold this and, to help fund operations. But over time, we have successfully morphed or merged or whatever the word is, morphed into a utility token that is not a security. If you've ever tried to natively stake on DOT, I'm sure you understand that you do indeed have to put in work to understand how to do all that. Anyways, this isn't a DOT show. I'm just saying that they're an example of an ecosystem, a cryptocurrency that has put in work to become compliant, like the SEC says that they want. And then, frankly, you have Algorand, which is pure proof of stake. Now, I read through that article pretty quickly with the Bloomberg, but they basically are saying, look, if the creators of these ecosystems are on social media pumping their ecosystem, and if they are, you're staking and you're making a passive income, blah blah blah, during consensus, this is all the marks of a security. Well, guess what, folks? It's funny because there's two things that Algorand community are complains about the most, right? One, well, there's a lot of things that the Algorand community complains about. Let's be perfectly frank. But and every crypto community, I'm sure. I just am not as heavily involved in any other crypto community as I am Algorand. But there's two major things that people complain about Algorand. One, that where the hell Silvio? We need more Silvio. And two, why the hell would I run a participation node for no reward? Why don't we reward consensus? We also know that Silvio McCauley has a relationship with Gary Gensler, and I'm sure has had conversations with, like, all right, how do we do this and not become a security? All right, well, you have staking not provide a yield. And you, sir, don't go on every single thing and pumping Algorand, blah, blah, blah. So maybe the two things that we hate the most is actually going to protect Algorand in the long run. What do you guys think? Anybody think? Average Zen says you can get rewarded for consensus. Okay. Well, that's different. Okay. So he's making the point that, look, you can get rewarded for consensus. Just vault it on AlgoFi and get gov rewards on your node Algo, for sure. 100% you can do that. But that's not staking rewards, or that's not consensus staking rewards. That is governance rewards. And that you have to put in actual work. And if you're in the Algorand ecosystem, it's a tremendous amount of work that we have to do. We have to vote, right? Votes may become more. It's soon. There's going to be a XGov platform where we're going to have to we have to vote. It's a tremendous amount of work, folks. And then soon, did Crypto for Change ever get back to me, by the way? No, he doesn't want it. He didn't even respond. What a jerk. What a jerk. Let me see. Let me tune in with you guys. Okay. SEC can only work with what they have. They don't change the law. KuCoin is KYC free if you use a VPN from the US, even if you don't. Yes. So is MEXC. So there's a bunch of places. Maybe blockchain is about decentralizing procedures. Some Americans told me KuCoin was KYC required for them. I think it's KYC required. Well, it's certainly now in New York. So the Americans in New York, I don't even think they can access KuCoin anymore. But there's probably a limit to how much without KYC you can withdraw. Oh, well, there you go. Mr. Joker said the same thing. Mr. Joker's in the US and using it as he speaks. What are you buying, Mr. Joker? Good man. Did KuCoin lock or return the stolen algos? Oh, there we go. Yeah, he did. Only one BTC? Yeah, I'll have to do multiples. Most banks won't let you withdraw more than 10K per day. You can get, and then I'm back to average Zen. Mel says decentralization is something users want. It's also ethical to do it without reward if the cost is minimal. Yep, makes sense. ReCoop. I think it's okay that the custodian staking should be regulated. The custodian's staking. Now, are you talking about like Coinbase and stuff like that? Like, because yeah, I mean, Coinbase is certainly regulated, and I have no problem with them regulating centralized exchanges. They should, in fact, be figuring out. And I really was excited about Charles Hoskinson a while back when he went in front of Congress and he started to really, advocate for a what is decentralization and a definition for what decentralization is. And that's really where this should be, is that, okay, what is truly just centralized and what is decentralized? Okay. And centralized things get regulated a lot, and decentralized things get left alone. And then there's a spectrum of stuff, right? So obviously, not everything is as purely, I guess, decentralized, and there's a lot of arguments against this, but still, as like a Bitcoin or whatever. So I wish that I wish the argument was more about centralization and decentralization, and not, anything that had any kind of sale or anything that has any kind of centralized aspect on some, like DeFi, where there are centralized, there's backdoors and stuff like that. I would prefer that all the DeFi has no backdoors, and which will be a little more risky, but it's still, it's a complicated subject that I'm not going to solve in the next 10 minutes off the top of my head. But still, dude, we tried to get PacFi and Node up and running last night. It is work. I mean, for sure. Tried to get PacFi in. Oh, you work with PacFi, Average Den? I am certain anti-pumping approaches for that very reason. And I mentioned that with Silvio. And then I also, how often is Gavin Wood pumping Polkadot? I don't think I've ever seen that. What's the APY for running an algo node? Zero APY. It's out of the goodness of your heart. But John Woods and the Algorand team are creating a much more simplified process that you'll be able to run, and you'll be able to help secure the Algorand network, your favorite network. And you'll do it out of the goodness of your heart. Now, there are relay nodes, which are different, that pass along all the messages to the participation nodes to confirm transactions and, confirm blocks. That's a different thing. There's about 120 relay nodes out there, I think, currently. And those are incentivized because those are much more costly. And that's a major pain point for the Algorand ecosystem when it comes to pure, true decentralization. I think a lot of the criticism towards relay nodes might be misguided, but at the same time, when you're in this and you want it to be truly censorship resistant, 120 of those relay nodes, it would be very difficult to coordinate shutting down Algorand because I think you would need to take out at least, if John, and I'll ask John this on Monday when he comes on, but I think it's like 70 of those nodes you would have to shut them, and they're spread out across the world. They're not just in the States or Europe or, they're everywhere. They're in Africa, they're in Latin America, they're in Asia, they're everywhere. They're spread out everywhere. So it would take a lot of effort to shut down Algorand. Another reason why they won't lead a rescue fund for exploits. Yeah. Yes. And another major reason why they shouldn't just be like, okay, we feel bad for everybody. We're going to unilaterally just do a recovery with your governance funds. Crypto for Change just got back. He just got home. I mean, well, now you're late. Okay. We only have 8 minutes, Crypto for Change. Oh, he told me he was at Target. I mean, you want to come on here? Let's just do this real quick. Let's have Crypto for Change come on for the last 10 minutes. Just because I think you guys are, I'm just talking to you guys anyways. It might be fun to have his pretty little face, his shiny little face here. Let's go to, I know we're not sharing this instead. All right, so we're gonna have Crypto for Change join. I didn't even tweet about this at all. I didn't even, not pumping this show at all. I'm just doing it. Frankly, there was so much. I had the show. Oh, is he already here? No. I did the show on Sunday too, so like I've been just going. This is my fourth week. I'm about to finish my fourth week of this live show. It's exhausting, and you guys know that the past couple of weeks has been exhausting for the entire community with the my algo exploit, and then me looking at all the details and some of the inconsistencies and some of the weirdness. It's been a stressful couple of weeks. So let's just have some fun with our buddy Crypto Change. Oh, did he just say he couldn't do? Oh, check him again. There he is. All right, let's do it. Let me get rid of this.
Wow, and not just Crypto for Change, but man.
Oh man, look at that. What is up?
Say, what's going on, everybody?
What's his name?
Luca.
What's up, Luca? Hi, Luca.
He says, I can't hear you, but Daddy's hogging all the audio, so I'm just staring
all
at
the
you.
soothing sounds of Coop.
Yeah.
Well, hey, real quick, I just wondered how the Great Betrayal went yesterday. What was going on with you and John Woods?
It was great, just had to make sure, get that verbal confirmation that, the next block is obviously on the rising up. So, make sure you tune in always. Although we will actually be switching the day up. JT at his new job, he's trying to, Web 2, right? You're supposed to be all Web 3, and this guy trying to go back into it. No, I'm kidding.
Did he get a job?
Yeah, he's got a new job. So we're going to be it's at a newspaper in Boston. I don't know why I'm dropping the name, but it's a big one. So he's going to be working there and doing some. So we're going to be switching up a little bit. But no, it was great. Was excited to hear about Algo Kit and what they got coming. John's obviously super excited about it and thinks that it's going to attract, the developers, at least in his words. He didn't put it on par with saying that, it would that I guess the developer experience would be as easy as like Ethereum. Heck, I'm pretty sure he said that on the show. Like it's not going to contend with that, or I guess the ease of building on ETH, but he put it above almost everything else, that it should be better than building on almost any other, popular layer one blockchain that's out there. So, and that was what, I just kept hitting him with. I was like, how are we actually going to get people, to use Algorand? Because, the bear market has just been dropping people like flies. And then you get the My Algo hack, and that drops even more of just, your everyday users who maybe got, their funds stolen, and that sucks. So, but
how do you, did he first of all, before we saw, I want to ask you a question, but did he avoid any questions that I should kind of like badger him on about on Monday? Or did he just
he answered everything. We didn't try to do any gotcha questions or anything like that. Yeah. I had some that I thought about asking, and even after the show I asked him, like, would that have been a gotcha question? He was like, oh no, I would have answered. I was like, oh shoot, I should have answered it. And maybe I can send you those in the DMs, so I don't so we get the audience to actually want to tune in.
Okay.
But
because he's already been on your show, so why would anybody tune in on Monday, is what you're saying?
Exactly. Yeah. So, but no, I feel like the bigger thing that at least from after the episode from the community, what I've seen is people are still interested to see what Jess is going to do.
Yeah.
They're wondering why she's not following people. We asked her that. She said that's going to be happening soon. She's going to start getting with the community to, find a profile picture and all this jazz. And I just think, it's important, but I still, and I've said this for a while, but I just feel like at times I feel like the Algorand community still weighs too heavy on the foundation to make the moves to grow the ecosystem. Like at the end of the day, like Bitcoin grew because people shared what Bitcoin was with their friends and family. And if we want, I heard you talking about securities and all that stuff. It's like if Algorand is going to be, a token that's not seen as this, it has to grow. It has to be decentralized. So we as a community have to actually go out and tell people, can't just trust that everybody's going to tune into the ReCoop or the next block and buy crypto. I literally was walking out of Target, saw a guy with a Bitcoin shirt and was like, go Bitcoin, fuck banks. And he looked at me like, what? He's like, oh wait, my shirt. Yeah. And I'm like, you actually got to go out and talk to people about this stuff. And so, but, that's kind of where I'm at as far as, marketing. Jess is probably going to do a great job. I feel like the team that Stacy's put in place, the new foundation, as some people were saying,
Yeah, I wanted actually. I wanted to know how much that was emphasized. Were they like, look, there was an old regime that may have done things a certain way, but we're the new regime? Was that really the?
That's the mentality I'm getting from them. And I'll say this, Jess and John, obviously it seems like they communicate since they're both at the foundation. It seems like they have they're linking arms to really make sure AlgoKit is a success, and not just a success as far as like, people write some cool articles about it, but like actually people are using it, able to use it, able to build more sophisticated and things and bring them, to mainnet for Algorand. So I do think that those two from the foundation side, like if you hate Stacy, I get it. A lot of people have their own opinions and you're welcome to them, but like, don't shoot the people who are actually, trying to freaking build and make Algorand a success. And I do believe like that John and Jess are those people for Algorand. And Stacy's put in a great team. I think, we have to, this bear market has sucked, but imagine what can happen if maybe we have, what if the last, what was it, 15K for Bitcoin or whatever, and 16 cents for algo, what if that was the bottom, right? And what if this is the spring and the bull market is coming? Maybe it's not a long bull market, but anything that could get the price back up, get people's belief back in crypto up. And as long as we can avoid, securities talk and a lot of the stuff from Gary Gensler and regulation, squandering it. I mean, what could become of the space? And so I don't know. That's where my, after the talk, that's where I was kind of at. Like, I'm definitely with them. But there's still the naysayers, and there's still the, because you're boards and boring Bon Jovis and all the guys out there who are going to FUD no matter what, because they think they could do it better, and to that, I say, go do it,
Yeah. I mean, in the case of because you're bored, I think he outright stated that he's paid opposition, right? Didn't he say that?
Oh, I didn't know. He's blocked me for a while now. He's unblocked me and blocked me, and now I'm back to being blocked.
Yeah, I see him again. I think he blocked me at some point. I don't know, and I don't follow him very closely, but I remember sometime late last year that him pretty much saying, no, he's paid to do this, but yeah. I could be wrong again.
Yeah. I mean, he used to have, he used to say he was the bringer of the apocalypse, the next 4 cryptos, it was Monero, probably, I don't know if his Bitcoin, it was like Monero, Algo, 2 other ones. I don't even know, probably like HBAR or something. And he was like, these are the, he always used to talk bullish. And then the second the bear market set in, he just immediately became the biggest fudster of anything and everything. So I don't know. It sucks, obviously, for, where we're at in the market. Obviously everybody's clinging on to this mini pump we've kind of seen. I even, dipped back into some algo again.
Oh, good.
Still loading up on some other ones. I heard you talking about Polkadot. I have some of that. I've been loading up on some Filecoin. They actually just launched their FVM, which is Filecoin's virtual machine. So I was kind of interested to do some more due diligence on that. But
some decentralized storage.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that can work really good for Algorand in 2023. I do believe AlgoKit could be one of them. And but I'm also, like I said, I'm excited to see what Jess does once she kind of, I feel like, gets her feet underneath her. Like I said, she's only been here like a month, maybe, I don't know exactly how long, maybe 2 months now. But it'll be interesting to see, like, once she feels comfortable, maybe to like spread her wings and do her own thing. I don't know if she feels that yet, because
well, there's also the idea, she's also a smart marketer, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And to make her big coming out party in the middle of what has been going on the last couple of weeks, it just will lose all effectiveness, really. Like, we don't really want anything right now, except for, I think, and even if we're not asking for it, I think our entire community is kind of like, what the hell was behind this My Algo hack?
Yeah.
And is My Algo ever going to be safe, or is that dead?
Yeah.
And like, what is the truth there?
Yeah.
And we all need that. And like I've said in the past, something stinks, and I think we're all smelling it, and nobody's owning up to the fart. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I feel like, to an extent,
seriously, you took a fart analogy. You're like, that's right, exactly, bro.
Right, yeah, exactly.
You're so good.
It's because I'm like focused on you, but I'm also like, where the hell is my son at? He's probably like pulling something down. No,
he can crawl now?
Oh yeah, he's finally, he was doing the army crawl where he's like just pulling his legs. Now he's like got him up underneath him, so he just chases my 15-year-old dog around all day, and my dog hates it because he's like half blind, so like he's running into stuff trying to avoid him. But to an extent as well, I've heard a lot of people say this. I kind of believe it. myself some, but old money and new money, right? A lot of the old money that's been in Algorand ecosystem that profited on the last run, and maybe they're mad now because a lot of things are going on, and you could be seeing some exploits that are some ill intent from who knows, people within. I don't know. I have no answers to that, or we'll have to wait until we find out. But
I mean, and even me talking about it for the last couple of weeks, I don't have answers either. I just have questions. I just have questions. Yeah.
And it all comes down to, old money and old people are going to leave. New money and new people are going to come into the space. I mean, there was tons of, I wasn't in crypto until 2020, or I guess the fall of 2020, close to December is when I started buying Dogecoin, and I had no idea what happened in crypto before then. Like, I didn't know about Mt. Gox. I didn't know about, ETH going to, and Litecoin and Bitcoin forking and all this. I had no idea. And there's tons of people, millions of people who have no idea what's going on with Algorand right now. So, to an extent, it matters to us because we're in it every day. Yeah. But there's going to be so many people who are going to be coming and looking at blockchains and won't know about the MyAlgo hack if MyAlgo is still around. So,
and by the way, sorry to interrupt you, but when it comes to crypto, we see things like this all the time.
Yeah.
So yes, we're in it, but there's just and we're going to move forward from this. It's no big, I mean, in the end, this will be moved on from, and it'll just be like, oh yeah, the MyAlgo hack, just like it's like the Tiny Man hack. We all use Tiny Man still, and it's like, oh yeah, the Tiny Man hack. Like it just whatever. We're going to move on from it, but at least with the Tiny Man hack, there seem to be a lot of answers. What's weird right now is that there is no answers. So it could be more ingrained in that old. That's why I'm also a little interested if they're emphasizing the new regime and the old regime. I'm just sort of like, is there anything in that? I don't want to make it, I don't want to make too much of that because it's probably nothing, but it's also the idea that I think, look, for example, borderless capital has been integral to everything that the Algorand has done. They've been the biggest player in it. And frankly, Algorand hasn't performed that great over the last 3 years. Certainly not the price. So I'm just saying, like I think you're saying, sometimes hitting refresh,
hitting that restart button
gets things working again.
And I feel like you have there's definitely bigger players. I mean, even Jess said in our live that they're talking to people like BitBoy Crypto and other influencers in the space. Obviously, John has mentioned that they're going to try to work with some of the ones that are dedicated, like you and us at the next block and stuff, to try to make sure we're getting the message out there to the masses the best way we can. But I do believe there's a new energy. There's new blood, right, from the foundation side, people who are eager to work at it. Maybe where people like Kelly and stuff had just got frustrated with the people yelling at them saying the marketing's not working, and then obviously we had Scaramucci, and then now he's gone over at Casper Labs. Money moves, people come and go, but I think that there's definitely room for Algorand to grow and take market share in this. We to an extent it is we just we got to get behind the people we got and give it hell.
That's right. I mean, and it's, we can't ignore the negative sentiment right now. I know it's not unique to Algorand, but there's a lot of people out there that are questioning their decisions. They're wondering what could possibly even be a catalyst for things to even move in the direction they want. And people are worried about, like what I was talking about, the security designation. And so it's just like Gary Gensler, and what is even going to happen. So it's hard, but I think as long as we weather it, and as long as the tech keeps on going, and I don't know, we'll be fine. I hope. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. Obviously I'll have to hit you in the DMs with some of those questions. Maybe you can, put some fire on, on John Woods when he comes on your show. Maybe we can get some deeper answers.
Well, John is,
he's a great guy. I love John.
Somebody that I really enjoy. He, I don't get the impression that he would have a hard time answering most questions. I just think that he's somebody that just is, what a score.
Yeah.
If we're going to hang our hat.
Like I said, every time I talk to John and every time I do an interview with him or just hear him talk, it's kind of like Silvio. It makes me want to buy more algo. It makes me want to get behind it and continue pushing. And that's kind of where we're at, I feel like.
All right. Well, hey, David, Luca, thank you so much for joining the ReCoop today. And again, Crypto for Change, I really appreciate all the help you've been, doing the show. And everybody, when is the new time for the next block?
I think we're going to be switching it to Mondays, and we're going to try to keep the same, like 1 or 2 p.m. So I think it's going to work the best. I think next week we're trying to get Tony from Thinking Crypto. He was scheduled for Wednesday, so either we're going to keep him on Wednesday or he's going to move to Monday with us. If I haven't checked my email yet, but we should have him, and we're trying to get a couple other people from the foundation or the Inc side of the Algorand to come on in the coming weeks. So going to try to do our best, especially during, hopefully, like I said, if this is crypto spring and we're out of, even Mark Yusko on Monday said we're out of crypto winter. So he believes that we're done with the bear market. Maybe this is spring, some choppiness, but it's going to be more bullish. So hopefully we're going to try to keep the good, guests coming so that we can get people excited and tuning in.
Yeah, I mean, these are things that I have to also check myself on a little bit too, because I get wrapped up. I'm like, well, there's obviously a Binance shoe to drop. That's what my head is. Like, I know that shoe has to drop, but a lot of times when people are convinced of things like I am, I have to remind myself that I'm convinced that shoe's going to drop. But does that shoe drop at 35,000 and brings it down to 28,000? You know what I mean? Whatever.
That's the way you have to look at it. It's like this algo, I expect the algo price. I mean, everybody expected algo's price to drop this week and tank considerably with the banks and all this stuff going on. And somehow it's kind of went up from 18 cents back to 20. It's like, does algo run to $1 and then tank to like 30 cents? And that's the shoe dropping, but I'm going to miss the run from 20 cents to $1. That's the risk we run in crypto.
See, this show is not void of all hopium, folks. All right. Hey, all right, man. It's good to see you. Good to see your baby. And thanks for, jumping in real quick.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on here for the late one. And Luca says, go algo and crypto. And I'm going to go take a nap.
Does Luca have a wallet?
Yes and no. He does. Like it's in mine, but it's staked. So it doesn't move.
You're good. All right. Good. All right, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
All right, everybody. Thank you for, tuning in. Tomorrow is Friday. Today's Thursday. What if I did that yesterday and I thought it was ridiculous. I'm going to do that every time. Today's Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. I'll see you at 9 a.m. Eastern. Same place, same time, only on YouTube. I appreciate you guys. And hopefully he reads this chat. Hold on. Oh, yeah, I do. I just saw hopefully he reads this chat, but that was about, why do some people foundation FUD? Don't really get that. I just dead, even if resurrected. I'm not sure. The younger generation that is growing up with their phones glued to their face is going to get into crypto much more than any other generation. I agree. I just, even like, if you've been paying attention to NFTs, doesn't it feel like there's been even just a shift that digital property is property? You know what I mean? Like, there seems like it's slowly getting ingrained, even though I think Instagram just cut that. But I think that they cut their NFT division or whatever, NFT support, and they're now focused on decentralized social media, which they're smart. That's a smart move. My kids asked to get paid for chores and algo. Love it. Oh, who's Mr. Joker now? Wait, I remember somebody a while back saying that too. Heard earlier Jess is heading into Crypto Monday group next week. Would we, AlgoFam, rather know what she's doing, or would you rather she did stuff outside of our core ecosystem? I would rather her do whatever she thinks she needs to do. Honestly, I don't really know what she should. You guys know me. I don't really like to talk about what I think people should and shouldn't do. I will actually. Sorry, maybe I'm being a hypocrite there. Cute baby for sure. That's 100% true. Very cute baby. 3-day pump looks like failed retest. More pain. Yeah, brother. I'm on the same page. Algonauts want David to introduce Vendible to Tony. That's a cool score. That guy seems cool. I don't really watch him. I am Mr. Joker. It'd be great if we could get Tony to talk about Vendible on Thinking Crypto. All right, Algonauts. I appreciate you guys. and Cooper Troopers, all of the things. I'm doing something in the background that I think will be fun. So hopefully that'll all come together and it'll be a fun little project. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys.